CSM with some of the smartest physical therapists and physical therapist assistants in the room. If you've ever wondered how PTA content is shaping the future of rehab, you are about to find out. She spent her career pushing against quiet limits placed on physical therapist assistants, especially ones that we place upon ourselves. She's led at the national level, shaped PTA education, earned a PhD in adult learning and leadership, and believes attitude and aptitude are equally powerful forces for growth. She's here to challenge PTAs to stop self-limiting and start leading. Deanne Yates, thanks for coming on.
Well, thanks for having me.
Yeah, we've talked about doing this before. Right. Well, not this. Like you can see, we've got the whole
crowded,
thing.
Yeah.
It is a little crowded here. So yeah, what brings you to CSM this year?
Well, we always come. My college sends us here so we can stay abreast of not only the latest in therapy and rehab, but also stay abreast of what's going on in education and the leadership for PTs and PTAs.
Yeah. So you are a seasoned professional when it comes to CSM.
Yes.
This is not your first time.
No, you wear comfortable shoes and plan not to sleep. That's about.
And plan not to sleep. Those are great tips for everybody. I did an episode before I came out here with the first time attendee, Macy. So shout out to Macy. And we talked about all the good things that you need to do, like pack snacks and bring comfortable shoes and all of that.
And make eating reservations early if you plan to meet with a group. Yes.
That is perfect information. So what has been one moment so far? And CSM just started. Like we're like 4 hours in, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what's one moment that stood out to you so far? And this could be anything. It doesn't have to be a session, but it could be a conversation. It could be a moment.
You know, what stands out to me is how really small the physical therapy community is, and how you walk through here, and when you're involved at different levels, you meet people throughout the whole nation, and they become your friends and your partners, and you seek them out for advice, and they seek you out for advice. And it's just, the support is absolutely fantastic.
Absolutely. I was on my way to come meet you, and I was stopped by probably 2 or 3 people that I'm like, hey, oh my gosh, I haven't seen you in so long, and then you catch up, and I mean, it really is a small world. I tell this to my students all the time. You're also a PTA educator, so you probably tell this to your students as well, that it really is a small world, so the impact that you make and the first impression that you make is vitally important.
Yes, so if you meet someone in a clinic, they might not have a job, but they know somebody has a job, and if you've burned bridges or you have a nasty attitude, which is my big thing, then you'll kind of could limit yourself that way. So it's really important to be open and willing to learn from everybody.
Absolutely. Self-limiting, we talked about that earlier. That's one of the things that I probably drive home the most on this podcast is I'm giving you a permission slip to do the thing that you want to do. You don't have to wait for somebody to say you should do this thing. No. You got to find it.
And you sit there and you say, I want to do that. And you say, well, a PTA, I'm a PTA. And they say, well, a PTA's never done that before. And you said, so? And you go do it. And you say, well, that doesn't need to be a PT. There's nowhere is it written that it has to be a PT. So why can't I do that with my desire, my training, and my knowledge? So, you know, I was just saying to someone that both PT and PTA is a clinical designation, and they both are terminal clinical designations. So it drives me absolutely crazy when I hear someone say, well, I'm a PTA and there's no room for growth. And I'm like, well, there's a tremendous room for growth.
Absolutely.
There's nothing that holds you back.
Yeah. I love that you mentioned that you are a PTA.
Yes.
You have done many, many different leadership opportunities. You've worked with FSBPT, you've worked in the PTA caucus and council to some extent, right? Yeah, so
I mean, first steering committee,
Yeah, so you're working at high levels as a PTA.
Well, yeah, I mean, as a PTA, I have been nominated, didn't win, but I was nominated for the vice president of the board of directors for the FSBPT.
Yeah.
So I didn't win. Michelle won. She's fabulous. I mean, they have great leadership, but so I didn't go, oh, I can't do that because I'm a PTA. I said, okay, sure, I can do it.
You put yourself forward, and that's the thing that I've lost an election before too.
Yeah.
But the opportunity and the growth that you learn from those types of experiences really change who you are.
Well, and the friendships and the connections, and more than anything, what I've learned, and people now seek me out for my counsel or my advice on things as I seek them out, because I stuck myself out there and said, I'm not afraid.
Absolutely. So what's one idea, skill, or perspective that you've picked up here, or maybe in past CSMs because you've been here before, that shapes how you think about either practice, like a clinical practice, or your practice in education?
Oh, a skill. I guess it is not just here, but it's been ongoing, and it's something that really can be a lot of opinions on. Everybody has an attitude one way or another, and that is the role of artificial intelligence, or as I prefer to say, augmented intelligence, and how that is not only shaping how we teach, how we learn, also how we practice and how we document. So the importance of learning how to use it ethically and teach others how to use it ethically is probably a big thing that I'm finding.
Right, absolutely. If we don't learn how to use it appropriately and ethically, we're going to be behind. We have to dip our toes into this and get used to it. It's part of everything now.
It's part of everything, and and I'm old enough to remember back in the day when they say, "Oh, you need to learn how to do this math problem from the and show your work."
And show your work
from the very beginning, because they go, you're not going to have a calculator with you all the time. And I said, well, now I have a phone. And not only do I have a calculator, I can even just talk the words to it.
Right.
And so I find that that's what's going to be happening with artificial, or as I have learned from the FSPT, the augmented intelligence, because it's only as smart as what you ask it and what you search through.
Exactly. There's certain things you have to do to prompt it appropriately, or you're going to get junk. Junk input, junk output.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah. But you're also in education. We've talked about this before, and one of the things that I absolutely admire about you is your ability to be creative in the classroom.
Thank you.
So there is a couple of Facebook pages that I know that you're in that group. PTA Educators, I think, is one of them. And in that group, you're always giving ideas and suggestions because you tried the thing. You're like, well, I couldn't figure it out, so there wasn't a solution, so I just, figured it out. I did something about it.
Right. So, I'm going to jump into it because, it's something I like to talk about is that I just took our program at our school, not mine, but ours, and we have totally changed how we deliver our content into this strange world called blended HighFlex, where students have the choice how to attend class. And we have our third cohort. Admitted, we don't have any NPTE results yet, but it's amazing when you put your mind to it and you have other educators who support that idea, and you step back and you think, what do I want my students to learn? Not what do I want to teach my students? And you become very intentional. Your students become very intentional in their learning.
What do I want my students to learn?
Not what do I want to teach my students. Teaching is memorization, learning is understanding.
I like it. So you are presenting a poster here.
Yes.
Is that correct?
With the team. With the team.
So can you tell us a little bit about what you're presenting on your poster?
Yes, we were looking, they did some, there was a study on DPT education, or just a search on it, about the outcomes on the NPTE in HighFlex programs. So we decided that we wanted to kind of replicate that study on PTA programs, because we thought it'd be very interesting because of the different time frame and so on. What we found, though, as we started going through that, is that it was almost impossible for us to do that because there's no good definition of what a hybrid program is. There's no clear delineation in CAPTI. There's no clear delineation on websites. There's this number that CAPTI says that people self-report as being online, and there's this that you call them or you contact them, you look at their website, and they don't match. So that's what we're looking at, and kind of promoting the idea that we need a common language so we know what we're looking at. That's great. Good topic. So your presentation is today, tomorrow, Saturday? It's Saturday.
Saturday? Okay. This probably won't be released until after conference, but I hope that you have great success with your poster. Yes. So what made you personally interested in that topic, other than the fact that you're kind of swimming in this right now with the hybrid?
Well, it's because everyone's talking about hybrid education, and we really don't have, in a general education courses, you have your grad outcome to see if it's working or to see what the success is. But that's just that you pushed your students through the program, through undergrad or general education courses. Whereas I think we're in a unique position with physical therapy education, whether it's DPT or PTA, because we have the NPTE, which is a benchmark. So we can really compare the delivery system to this standardized benchmark to see the success.
Great.
So
yeah, well, exciting stuff. So if you could speak directly to the audience right now as far as PTAs who didn't make it here this year or who are thinking about potentially coming to CSM in the future, what would you like to tell them?
I would like to say you need to come. It's not just PT or DPT information. And as the APTA and a lot of people who have worked within the APTA have worked really hard to make sure that that language is that if we're talking about education, we're talking about physical therapy education. We're trying not to pigeonhole it to a DPT or a PTA because it is physical therapy education. And as a professional organization, we try to be inclusive, so we need to be inclusive of all career paths underneath that profession.
That is correct. Yeah, couldn't have said it better myself. Great, thanks. Well, Deanne, a couple of rapid fire questions here that I'm going to give you here real quick. Okay, so first thing that comes to your mind, early session or late session?
Early.
Okay, exhibit hall must see. What do you got to do in the exhibit hall?
Well, I like to go around and collect all the books I can so I can keep notes and don't have to buy books.
Nice. Yeah, I like it. What's one word that describes this year's vibe?
Exciting.
Exciting. Okay. Coffee, hotel gym, or extra sleep?
Outdoor run.
Outdoor run. Very good. Great. Best networking advice in 5 words or less? I'm not going to count, so you can go over that if you want.
Don't be afraid to walk up to somebody and introduce yourself, because if you're nervous, they probably are too.
Great. Love it. Thank you so much for coming on. I want to thank USPT for allowing us to hang out at their booth today. Don't forget, if you are a MedBridge user, you have a discount code through PTA Plus, and you can go to ptaplus.com and find your code today. Thanks.
Thanks for listening to PTA Plus, the podcast for PTAs by PTAs. Subscribe, follow us on social, and share the show. Elevate yourself. This show is for educational purposes only. No clinical decision making should be made from its content. See you next time.